You ever wonder how a nation takes a huge goal, something like sustainability, and turns it into something real, something you can actually see and touch? Well, it's a journey, one that goes from a simple slogan on a building to a powerful skill in someone's hands. And today, we're going to dive into a pretty amazing program that's doing exactly that. And this quote right here from Dr. Zainab Hafiz, it just nails it. It's one thing to be aware of a problem, it's a whole other thing to actually put solutions into practice. But the real endgame, that's when the practice becomes a deep, lasting, sustainable responsibility. And that's the journey we're going to follow. All right, so let's set the stage. Our story kicks off in Egypt, where energy efficiency isn't just, a nice idea, it's a full-blown national priority. And we're not talking about some dusty old policy buried in a government file somewhere. Nope. In Egypt, this goal is literally up in lights right on the Ministry of Electricity building for everyone to see. It's a huge public statement, a national mission. Now, what's so interesting here is how they've framed this. This isn't just about saving a few bucks or using better light bulbs. It's being presented as a national commitment, a promise to protect the country's resources for the next generation. But, okay, having a big commitment is one thing. How do you actually get your workforce to make it happen? And this is where things get really interesting. To bridge that giant gap between a high-level policy and what happens on the ground, you need a smart plan. And more importantly, you need people who are truly dedicated to seeing it through. So, who's behind all this? Well, at the very center of it is the Egyptian Association for Scientific and Environmental Research, which was founded by Dr. Zainab Hafiz. Their big idea was to focus on the people who are literally going to be building the future, students in technical schools. And the plan they came up with was simple but absolutely brilliant. It's a 3-step journey. You start with the basics in class, then you go see how it all works in a real factory, and finally, you get to talk directly with the pros who do this stuff for a living. So, the journey starts where you'd expect, with a solid foundation. Before you can improve a system, you've got to understand how it works, right? That crucial first step happens right here, in the classroom. But textbooks can only take you so far. The real magic, the aha moments, that's what happens when knowledge gets out of the book and into the real world. This is where the light bulbs, both literally and figuratively, really start to turn on. This quote just perfectly sums up the whole philosophy. I mean, reading about an electrical circuit is one thing, but seeing a massive production line churning out thousands of energy-efficient parts, that's a whole other level of understanding. That connection is everything. And this is that critical moment of connection. You've got students fresh out of the classroom standing on an actual factory floor. An expert is walking them through the whole process, and you can just see the wheels turning, the curiosity in their eyes. This is where theory becomes reality. They're not just looking at cool machines, they're seeing the practical application of every single principle they just learned. They are literally connecting the dots between a diagram in a textbook and the loud, humming, complex reality of a modern factory. And you have to understand this program is about so much more than just technical training. The bigger goal here is to build a whole new mindset, to empower a generation of leaders who see themselves as guardians of the future. Just look at the engagement here. These students are not passive anymore. They're asking questions, pointing things out. They're becoming active partners in their own education. An experience like this, it completely transforms them. And that, right there, is the ultimate payoff. When a student suddenly sees how their future job connects directly to a huge national mission, they don't feel like just another cog in the machine. They feel a sense of ownership, a sense of purpose. They become true partners. So what this program is really doing is instilling this powerful set of values. It starts with a very concrete skill, energy efficiency. That skill then serves a much bigger goal, sustainability. And all of that, together, builds a deep personal commitment, responsibility. Okay, so we've seen the incredible impact on individual students. But how do you scale that up? How does one program start to shift an entire nation's approach to energy? Well, you can think of the entire strategy like a 3-stage rocket. Stage 1 is awareness, which gets built in the classroom. Then that awareness gets launched into the real world with Stage 2, application. And the final stage, the ultimate destination, is governance, where these practices become so normal, they're just the way things are done. So, what do we really mean by governance? It's not just a bunch of rules. It's about creating a culture where making sustainable, efficient choices is the default, championed by leaders at every level who came up through this very system. It's when doing the right thing becomes the easy thing. And that brings us to our final big question. This program is a masterclass in getting from awareness to application. But what's it going to take to make that final leap to true nationwide governance? What happens when these very students become the managers, the engineers, and the policymakers of tomorrow? Well, that's the next chapter in this incredible story.